academic background currently. Maybe many of us have earlier been in the industry, or right from the beginning they have been in the academia. So I thought of pitching this particular topic today, which has already been stated, so that we can little bit illustrate as well as visualize that what exactly, or probably an high level overview, as in how the machine learning scenario is differing in the industrial perspective when we look at it, and probably that may help us or guide us to fine tune the way we do research in the academic area. So, being said this, this is what is the title of the PPT, which is there in front of us all. Now, to move ahead, the agenda of today's discussion will be post-pandemic workspace, the AI era, and machine learning operations, and followed by the final words, that is the conclusion of this particular session. Now that, as we all know, that a new term, or that we are hearing in no more new, that is the new normal. Now the new normal actually has become the usual normal, and let's say the normal which used to be there before the pandemic is has really become something novel or new, which we were used to earlier, pre-pandemic. Post-pandemic, whatever we thought of new normal has become our usual normal. So in that space, whenever this COVID breakdown has happened, it has not only changed the way we do our work, but at the same time, or simultaneously, I would rather say, it has also changed the profession of many like me. I would emphasize on this, that probably COVID-19, or let's say this corona breakout, and all these stuffs have also changed not only the way we do the work, but also the profession in which we are in primarily. Now, uh, as we see that the emerging technologies which are there, and there are several ways in which we groomed ourselves as sustainable professionals, are no more, in fact, bringing in that much of validity even in the academic space, if we look at, due to the due to the you know profusely use of different kinds of new platforms, like especially I would say the edtech industry. Now if you think of Swayam, NPTEL, which was already there for quite some time, but we were not really, at least from my end, I was really a little bit reluctant to pay attention to all the stuff. But then online and all these things were there, hindrance were there, people were not really used to online stuffs and getting into it. But then with the pandemic, what has happened, that people got used to it, and this edtech industry has taken up by storm. So obviously, once people are getting used to the tech, people are also paying attention to the already existing MOOCs which are there in Swayam or NPTEL or places like that, so that they are gaining huge knowledge, and the expertise has gone really open-ended. So now, with the help of Swayam, or with the help of, let's say, edutech platforms, they are having direct access to the people who are either from, let's say, the eminent institutions like IITs and places like that, or IIMs, and even in the edutech, people directly from the industry, they are trying to share their knowledge. So why am I saying this? Because of the fact that the way, hence it calls for the scenario that the way we thought of education, or the way we thought of delivering the education, or even we thought of, let's say, of our professional growth, probably needs a cross check, because of the fact the buzzwords, as it is being shown in the slide, is agility, scalability, and automation. So when we talk of agility or agile kind of scenario, I was also very much new to this, and I was not really used to it when I first joined the industry, when I first came the industry as a professional. Otherwise, sorry, Otherwise, I used to collaborate with the industry as a researcher, with the industry counterparts, and did couple of works with the industry guys earlier, but never have been a part of the industry as an employee there. So once I joined there, this and I started handling projects. This agile term first came into practice. Now, before I move ahead, like there are three buzzwords as it is being shown here: agility, scalability, and automation. So now I used to wonder, like, why every day there is a stand-up meeting, and why every day a scrum master is coming, and let's say you are even given a problem statement, which essentially is no more a problem statement in the industry. It is usually called use case. Now you are being given a use case based on which every other day, that is, let's say today, tomorrow, day after, except the weekends, at a certain time during the day, you are being called for a meeting. I mean, that is a mandatory meeting for sure. All your team members will be present there, irrespective of hierarchies. And let's say you are supposed to explain to the scrum master that what you have done based on the use case which has been allotted to you the every other day. Okay, it's not that this week I have updated, so next week or next month. No, it's just every other day the progress. So I become little bit astonished. I am not using the word irritated, but actually you can comprehend it as irritated, because every day, let's say in our usual background as a professor, if someone is asking, if you're doing a research, then what has happened yesterday, what has happened yesterday, what is the update today, what is the update today. So we usually don't care to do so. So that was true for me as well, when I initially have been a part of the industry. But then I mean, there is nobody to listen to you. I mean, nobody to listen to you in the sense, because that is what is the practice, because the client is paying for that. So now whatever research or whatever projects you are in, for which you are doing the research, is basically being a paid project. You are answerable that whether at all you are getting something which is of value or not to the client. Okay, because the sales guys have already picked up the project, and the project is on the floor, and you have to run that. So one is that the agility means if you are moving fast in modules for some particular use case, then the scalability is the portion when you are touching that, whether you can really go scale it up, go ahead and scale it up, and let's say flourish it in different other use cases as well. And automation, of course. Now this automation here, what is meant is not only the automation practice which is being done. Let's say there is a manual process of checking, let's say certain kinds of products, and you have implemented a machine learning algorithm which is now automatically checking it. That is automation for sure. But here the automation word in industry doesn't just restrict there. It is that whatever let's say end to end process you are building, which is usually called a pipeline, where is it that your entire thing is automated, because nobody will be there to actually handle the KPIs or the APIs, as well as the entire process of uploading the data, extraction of the features, and at the back end, when it is going, some kind of some kind of action to be triggered with the help of some kind of a service like RabbitMQ or so. So entire thing has to be automated with the help of a particular pipeline. So automation otherwise means that as well. It is not only that you should be sorry, automating one particular area or one particular let's say application you have automated. No, it is the end-to-end automation which you are doing, where not only the automation of the client, but the automation of your deliverables, that is the code and the concept, whatever, everything is automated. Okay, so you need to have a clear idea. I will be elaborating on this as I move on. So as you can see that there, the technologies that we are dealing with these days are, there can be I usually differentiate it in three different categories. One is crawl, another is walk, another is run. So when I say crawl, so one needs to understand the client. Usually they should understand that to be applied with, in which state it is. is it in the crawling state, it is in a walking state or running state. So for example, now let's say you are being given an object detection problem. You will say that, look, I will be getting huge benefit out of it if I use quantum machine learning, for example. Now these days, if you look at quantum machine learning, there are n number of research papers which are coming out, but the technology by and large, if you say, or if you see, is it being adopted by the industry to that extent? Not really. You have scalability. That I have 10,000 that, then whatever is there in the market, in which, so I'm coming to that, which is, can you work, uh, which, that is somewhat in the, I would say, in using in the middle of walk and run. Why am I saying this? There is a specific reason of that, because of the fact that it, I cannot say this is running, because when you are looking from the client that know what data actually is necessary for building a machine, they will have a problem. They will come to you with a problem and will say that, hey, I'm having this problem and you need to get a solution out of it. What kind of this that because of they are capable of
I think we're facing the internet connectivity issues.
hello, am I clearly audible?
Now, sir, we're audible.
Now I'm audible, right? So
Yeah, yes,
earlier also I was audible, right, when I was presenting?
yes, sir. But
Okay,
you have
okay.
disconnected or something.
Yeah. Just a
Yes,
few seconds, I guess. I
one
got
moment. Okay,
disconnected. I will be
okay,
again sharing my screen.
okay, sir. Proceed. Okay.
Just sharing my screen. So, fine. What I was saying is that whenever we are looking at this, that is, from the perspective of an AI era, so any company with deep learning is not an AI company, because it requires a strategic data acquisition for that, and you need to store the data somewhere in a unified, data warehouse, And then you need to think of automation. You need to define new roles, right? So there are people like data scientists, there are people like ML engineers, so all of them are not the same. They are having different functions. There will be research managers, there can be data science managers, there can be ML managers, there can be team leaders, and spaces like that in the ML area, right? So it is quite different from the normal software engineering scenario. Why? Because of the fact, in the software engineering scenario, the data is by and large which is not a main let's say ingredients, which is the main ingredient here in the machine learning scenario. So the careers that challenge us, instill a sense of progress, provide us with autonomy, and make us feel like we belong. So that's what are the opportunities in this AI era. So we need to understand as a professional currently the intersection between the business and artificial intelligence. So let me tell you, if you would like to file a patent in the industry, even with your own money, first of all, that is not allowed. Anyways, the industry will pay for that, since it will be in the name of the industry. You will be one of the inventors. But the industry, however novel it is, whatsoever novelty is lying there, will not be paying for it unless and until it is catering to some business unit. Okay. Now, maybe today or tomorrow you make a very novel invention based on some particular technology, which is not really catering to any of the business unit and not of the business interest of the industry. Whatever novel it is, it will be archived. It will not be patented at all, right? And also, you cannot just go out and patent it in your name, since you are a property of the or employee of the industry. That's what is the norms. So now what I'm trying to say, that whatever we do as a professional these days, to our students also, we must try to explain them that look, the scenario here at the engineering colleges or B schools, or in the PhDs, I would rather say, also, or in the masters, these are very, very cozy scenario, homely scenario. Outside, the scenario is very hostile for that matter, and all of them usually get adopted. But there are certain percentage of students who are really finding it really very hard, so that they can go outside and get adopted to the situation, because of the fact, if they are being given this kind of a perspective, that whatever you think, you need to think from the business, that will help them develop the business problem solving skills. So it's not that you try to develop primarily something on your own, it's fine. But as soon as you get matured in the technology domain, you must think of first the business problem and business value that you should bring in, and then with the intersection, you need to frame the business problem. So the goal or the aim of this kind of automations is not to automate the job, right? It is to automate the task. So automating jobs means you are decreasing the employment opportunities, which is creating unemployment in turn. So you need to identify what are the drivers of the business, where are the gaps, or what are the different areas which are being taken care of, which should be taken care of, and based on that, one needs to really understand that what kind of approach one should adopt. So it requires at times a industry academia collaboration. Now, when I say this, what do I mean? When I say this, when you become, declare yourself as a artificial intelligence or machine learning professional, now once, as soon as you go out of the periphery or the cozy area of let's say the academia, I would rather say, the problem is that you are being expected. If you say that if you are an ML engineer, for example, I'm just giving an analogy to the academia. Like, let's say if you are an engineer, computer science or an IT engineer. Earlier, I am talking about, let's say, 2004, 5, 6, like that. Now, as an engineer who has passed to the computer science or information technology, if you join a B school, that is a business school, and if they at all allow you to join there, they will have an expectation, since you are an IT engineer, whether you know operating system, whether you know computer organization, that is immaterial. They will have an expectation that you know Excel very well. You know programming or not, that is immaterial. So the thing is that you will know Excel very well. That is what is the B school expectation. Now, this is just an analogy, a very loosely coupled analogy with the industry. When you go and join the industry, so there will be an expectation, like if you join there as a data scientist, machine learning engineer, you may join based on your background on a specific domain like NLP or computer vision or something like that. But then once you join, you will be given whatever task is available. Okay, so that may be NLP, that may be computer vision, that may be normal kind of data, that may be recommendation engine, whatever is there. You are supposed to be a problem solver for all kinds of scenario. So for that, it becomes very very important. That's why I told you earlier that the slide which I have shown you, to become agile, to become scalable, and to become very very enterprising. Otherwise it is very difficult to sustain in the actual professional world, especially since I have been in academia for quite a long time. Especially once you go out of the academia and join the corporate, many of us are thinking of having a exposure of both ways, so that we can give back to the society in a proper way. But then trust me, I mean, the scenario is totally different, right? Then for a machine learning life cycle, this is what is the life cycle where that we can see that we need to frame the problem in terms of the business goals which I was saying, and then we need to access, prepare, and process the data for the model. So an architecture is very much necessary here. So architecture means that when we are thinking that we are proposing a solution, how much time this solution will take to execute in the real time, how much memory it is consuming, what are the parameters it is including, so that whether it can be implemented in a age, because usually the industry try to implement on the real time in age based scenario, whether it is that compact that we can, whatever efficient it is, whether we can apply that in that kind of a scenario, and whether it is deployable or not. If that is consuming too much of a memory, having inherent delay, then the deployment will be a huge failure, and your entire project is gone. So then you iterate. After that, you need to iterate, and you need to monitor that whatever are the changes which are there. There can be changes in data, there can be changes in angle of the camera, there can be changes in let's say different ways of capturing the data. So based on that, there should be continuous kind of let's say improvement and services to be given after it is being deployed. So now, as you can see, the ML coding part is very, very small, given all the things which are there. Data collection itself is a trouble. So let's say you are explaining to collect the data in some other way. The person who is listening to you is not that skilled. The data is collected in a totally different way. So you need to make the person understand every time. But then the thing is that it is not that easy also, because once the data is collected, the person whom you are reporting to may also not be that much conversant, but maybe in a good administrative position. So you need to do the experimentation, convince both the people that look, this is not working, you need to take it in a different way. And then once you do that, then monitoring, data verification, machine resources, all these things which you can see here are a repetitive process which you have to do. So it is like the technical depth which you are having for building a machine learning model. So obviously, as you can see here, that we need to be very conversant. That is why with the ML ops or the ML operation, which is one of the buzzwords you can explain to your students, and having good career growth and opportunities. So for example, when you are framing the certain phases of this MLOps, or the framing ML problems following the business objectives. That is, what is the business objective? It can be anything, right? It can be finding out a fraudulent transaction, or to find out that whether there is a anomaly or not in a given data which is based on sound or vibration. So based on that, you need to find out and design the problem for the business objective, and then you need to architect the ML and data solutions for the problem. Now, when you search for data, that is one of the most strenuous tasks, as I was already saying, because you need to look for any available relevant data set. Then you check the credibility of the data set, then whether what is the source of the data set, then how will you build this data pipeline that can drive both training and optimization once the model is deployed to the production environment, which is the main challenge. Now, what all cloud services are to be used, whether it is a distributed system, whether it is a centralized system. Then the next thing is the data processing and the preparation part. That is the data engineering part. Which data is important, which is not important, which should you consider, which you should not be considering, how you are going to frame the data. And then after that comes the model training and experimentation, which is the data science part. So there you need to think of reproducibility very much, because tomorrow you leave, somebody will come and they have to do that, right? So you need to think of this particular thing. There are certain things which are available for reproducibility, and the versions of the different version control mechanism which is there in the git, right? So you have to be really really conversant with the git versioning control system, and you need to understand that how this work, how this functions, because the other task include testing a model by writing unit tests and then check the model against baseline simpler models, and then scale the model training using distributed systems. So that is how you build and automate an ML pipeline where you are identifying system requirements, parameters, computer needs, triggers, choose an appropriate cloud architecture, hybrid cloud. It can be multi-cloud. You have to construct training and testing pipelines, track and audit the pipeline runs, that whether it is going on properly or not, and also of course performing the data validation. Then deploying the models to the production system. So now there can be static deployment, there can be dynamic deployment. In case of static deployment, an application that offers, let's say, a kind of a static kind of a scenario where the model is a packaged one and installable software like exe and all, you can go ahead with. In case of dynamic deployment, you need to deploy with the help of flask or rest api kind of a scenario, wherever you need to also understand that certain concepts like what is a container, how I can use the docker, and how I can preserve the environment, how I can run the environment under different scenario, because setting on the remote machine is also a very big challenge, right? Once it is being deployed, then you are monitoring and optimizing and maintaining the model. Okay, likewise, as I was saying, that whether what are the changes that has been required or over the time, whether there is a change in the camera angle, whether there is a change in the type of the vibration that is coming out of the data or not. Okay, so in this way, the different teams which are involved in this, as you can see, lot of teams are involved: the business development team, the data engineering team, the data science team, and the IT and the DevOps team. Now this machine learning and DevOps, it is the cross section of machine learning and cross breed of machine learning and DevOps, which has created this MLOps, that is the machine learning operational. So now the final words, that you need to be research minded if you really want to be a independent professional, like acting both ways in industry and academia with equal flexibility. You really need to be multifunctional, enterprising, interdisciplinary in your approach, proactive, resilient for sure, and a risk taker, because anything can happen at any point of time. Your concept may work, may not work, people may convince, may not get convinced, right? How you are going to change the scenario in your favor. And of course, which is very important, you need to be a team player, because most of the people in your team, let's say if you are joining at a senior stage, will be much much younger to you, much lesser qualified than you. But then how you are matching with them all, running or training with them all, because one thing you have to remember, maybe people who are of your student's age, uh, and whom, if they are saying something irrelevant, you may just scold them and make them out of your chamber. This is not possible here, because those guys are now your colleagues. So you are under several HR and behavioral policies. So based on that, you need to groom yourself. So not only the technical capabilities, but also the soft skills, as well as the let's say mental capabilities, as well as the behavioral capabilities needs to be sharpened to become a new age professional, as far as my observations and my experiences taught me. So this is how I was trying to shape up the session, and I think the time is already over. I have taken 3 minutes extra. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and now in case you are having some question, I'm open for that. Thank you.
If anyone have any question, then please ask.
Yes, absolutely fine. I mean, if you have any question, you may go ahead. Otherwise, you can always get in touch with me. I'm there in LinkedIn as well. If you have any query, you can get in touch with me. You can ask me later on also, once it comes to your mind. But then, one thing, if you are really trying to become, as I said, an independent professional, then several things that you need to take care of, not only the technical specs and skills but also the behavioral possibilities which are there. And you really need to be enterprising and resilient to be in line to both the areas and domain and expertise. All right. And so with these words, I would like to say thank you to all and to the organizers. Still, in case you have some question, you can come up with that. Here.
If you have any question, please ask in chat box. We will communicate it with sir. Please, if you have any question, communicate. Write in chat box.
You can ask me anything regarding career scope, opportunities in academia, in industry, in edtech, or what are the things may be required to have a flexible career. Anything, whatever comes to your mind. It should not be necessarily related to the talk.
Do anyone have any question?
Okay, sir. Thank you for your lovely presentation,
Thank you
and
very
we
much,
hope
and
that in future,
yeah, sure. I wish you all the
we
best.
will be in touch.
Thank you. Wish
Thank
you
you,
all the
sir.
best.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Participants will get the feedback link on the chat box. Please wait.
We will give the feedback link in chat box as well as in WhatsApp group for this session. So you will get it.